Sorry, guys, we're just waiting for the recording to start.
Okay, go ahead, Heidi.
Okay. Good evening, and thank you for being here. The League of Women Voters of the Charleston area is sponsoring this virtual candidate forum for North Charleston City Council District 5. Jennifer Metz from the League's communications team is our Zoom host for tonight's forum. For our viewers, please keep your cameras and microphones turned off so that only the candidates, the moderator, and the timekeeper are visible. This forum is being live streamed and recorded. It's being live streamed on YouTube and recorded to be posted later. I'm Heidi Hupp. I'm the Director of Candidate Forums for the Charleston Area League of Women Voters, and I am your moderator for this forum this evening. For the candidates, you will have 60 seconds for opening and closing statements and 90 seconds to answer each question. Sue Burns, a league member, is our timekeeper tonight. Sue, if you'd raise your hand briefly. Thank you. As each candidate is speaking, Sue will hold up a sign stating 30 seconds remaining and then a stop sign when the candidate should stop speaking. A candidate forum is not a debate. It is an opportunity to share your platform with the community. Candidates, please make sure you do not have campaign literature on your screen. The sponsor of this event is nonpartisan, and this is a nonpartisan event. On May 27th, 2025, North Charleston District 5 voters will choose a new city council member to represent them. Only voters in North Charleston District 5 will be able to vote in this election. However, the city of North Charleston is also having a special election for District 3 for any voters that affects. I encourage voters to visit the League of Women Voters vote411.org website to view information on tonight's candidates and any other elections that may affect you. Keep checking back on vote411.org as candidate information is added throughout the election season, throughout the whole year, really. All right, these are the North Charleston District 5 candidates who are in attendance tonight in alphabetical order. Christopher Emdy, Katrina Johnson, Mindy Parrish, and John Singletary. Katisha Breland and Todd Olds and Brandon Trollinger are not joining us tonight. Okay, the format. Candidates will respond to questions in rotating alphabetical order by last name. For example, for the candidate opening statement, it will be Christopher Emdy first, and then Katrina Johnson, and so on. We will then proceed in rotating order through the questions and closing statements so that as many people as possible have an opportunity to be the first one to answer. No questions will be asked by the moderator that are directed at only one candidate or are of a personal nature. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to make an opening and closing statement. Candidates will have 90 seconds to respond to questions. A candidate may take an additional 60 seconds for rebuttal after all of the other candidates have responded. A rebuttal is an opposing argument or a contradiction to what an opposing candidate has said. If you wish to make a rebuttal, please signal by raising your hand at the end of when everyone has answered the question. And if I don't catch your hand up, please interrupt me and let me know that you want to make a rebuttal. A candidate is allowed one rebuttal per candidate question. We ask that candidates use closing statements to summarize the issues that you've already discussed and your overall vision for the position that you seek. Okay, if there are no questions about the format, I'll give you a second. Let's start with opening statements with Christopher Emdy. You have 60 seconds. Oh, you have to unmute yourself. And Sue won't start the timer until you're unmuted and you've started speaking.
Oh, that was a good start. So my name is Christopher Emdy. I've spent the majority of my career in the Marine Corps. I was an officer, a logistics officer. I attended the Citadel halfway through my career to get my degree and become a logistics officer. I was originally an artilleryman. I've spent my time as a company commander at Parris Island, also working on the general staff for emergency operations for hurricane evacuations and things like that. I have two children, 18-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter. I'm married and I live in the Federessa community right off of Dorchester in West Montague. I would say that my strengths are that I am highly disciplined due to the Marine Corps, and I am a very regimented individual. Integrity and good character are qualities that I strive to be my best in on a daily basis. So, also, I'm the co-owner of Charleston Swim School, and I currently work for Defense Health Logistics, which does signal support exploitation equipment for the Navy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Katrina Johnson, opening statement, 60 seconds.
Great, thank you. First, I want to say thank you to the League of Women Voters, Heidi, Jennifer, Kara, Sue, everyone. Thank you for having this. My name is Katrina Johnson. I have been a resident of the Low Country for 15 years. I'm from Ohio. Don't hold that against me, but I enjoy the weather down here much more. I am a business coach for women. Prior to that, I was a bankruptcy and domestic relations attorney in Ohio. And then I was in corporate America for 10 years, rising from an assistant to a marketing executive. I have a varied experience in all kinds of different areas, especially helping entrepreneurs. And I really think North Charleston is poised for great things, and I want to be part of that. This next phase of my life is about giving back. And so I think being a public service servant would be what I want to do.
Okay, thank you. Mindy Parrish, you're next, 60 seconds, opening statement.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mindy Parrish. I was born and raised here in North Charleston. I am a married mother of two little boys. They are my whole world. That is my go get it. Basically, I currently serve as the president of my HOA in Preserve on the Ashley. It's in the back of Wando Woods. I have a passion to serve and uplift the city as a whole for all residents, not just the ones that live directly on the Ashley. We have to include all of the ones that don't live on the Ashley as well. So I bring a wealth of diverse experience to my candidacy with my careers spanning from medical, educational, and construction sectors. I currently work in general construction and commercial construction. In the past, I have worked heavy highway, which gives me an up on the infrastructure needs that I believe needs to happen in North Charleston. My platform reflects a focus on transparency, public safety, economic growth, and environmental sustainability. I'm a people person, so I love to talk.
Thank you.
Yep.
And John Singletary, opening statement, 60 seconds, please.
My name is John Singletary. I'm a native North Charleston resident. Went to Gordon Garrett High School. From there, I matriculated into the Citadel, where I, out of the Corps Cadets, had my business administration degree given to me. Then Butler University for a master's in business administration and computer science. I was the owner operator for Chick-fil-A, technology consultant for Hewlett Packard, a Windows NT engineer for Microsoft, pickle line operator for Nucor Steel, and I presently am self-employed. I have a tax and accounting business that's here in the city of Charleston and North Charleston. I am here to serve the community that's in District 5. Residents in District 5 deserve integrity, accountability, transparency, and competency. I'm ready, willing, and able to provide all 4 of these things and to hit the ground running with an immediate impact for the city of North Charleston. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and we have Katisha Breland. I'm so glad you could join us. We are doing 60-second opening statements if you're ready for yours. Just to introduce yourself.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Katisha Breland, and I am a native of Charleston, longtime resident of District 5, My dad worked at the Naval Shipyard. My mom worked at Roper Hospital. This is where I live. This is where I work. This is where I raised my daughters. I'm a real estate broker. I own my own company, Sweetgrass Realty Group. I've been in the business for more than 25 years. I got into real estate as a means of supporting my daughters and also having a flexible schedule in order to be there for them. However, I didn't just use real estate for profit. I also gave back and volunteered my time within the association. I matriculated through the association by being chair of many committees, becoming a board member, and then eventually becoming president of the Real Estate Association. So I've served in many leadership capacities. I have a desire to serve. I have the experience to do so. And this is why I am running to be part of the North Charleston City Council.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the first question. Some of you have touched on this already in your introductions, but what strengths do you have that will make you an asset to the North Charleston City Council specifically? And for this question, we're going to start with Katrina Johnson and then move through the same order that we just went through, ending with Chris Emdy.
Okay, some of my strengths. Well, first of all, I am a problem solver. I am very much, give me a problem, let me find the solution. I'm very bottom line oriented. I also think out of the box. One thing about not being here is I'm not tied to the way it used to be done, that it's always been done. I'm going to bring new ideas because I have a varied experience. I think my other strength is I'm very much a people person. I can talk to anyone no matter what and really listen to them. I really do try to find out, like, what is it that we can solve the problem. I'm very problem oriented. So I think that's probably my strength at this moment.
Okay, thank you. And Mindy Parrish, same question. What strengths do you bring that will make you an asset to the City Council?
Yes, ma'am. So as I stated before, I have a diverse experience between medical education and construction. I have an extensive background in heavy highway and general construction, which I think uniquely positions myself to tackle the infrastructure challenges. Having worked on projects that shaped the city's roads, I worked for Banks Construction. You see them all over the place. It shapes the city's roads, the public spaces, and I understand the critical need for sustainable and efficient transportation systems. You know, some of my goals would be expanding public transportation routes, prioritizing the road repairs, maybe investing in some bike lanes and pedestrian friendly infrastructure on the more heavy highway transit routes. But, you know, to do that, you also have to think outside the box. You know, those issues also come with other issues as far as flooding and whatnot. And we already have a wealth of that in our district as well. So I think it just takes somebody that understands both the fact that you need it, but also the fact that you have to have another alternate route, because what you suggest may not always work. So you have to be open-minded to open opportunities.
Okay, thank you. And John Singletary, what strengths do you have that will make you an asset to the North Charleston City Council?
First of all, I'm a self-starter. North Charleston is in a critical position in which it needs someone who is willing to come in, grab the bull by the horn, so to speak, and get some projects done. I know North Charleston. I've been here all my life. I'm 63 years old. I'm solutions oriented. When it comes to taking care of problems that may exist or challenges, I'm a solutions-oriented person, and there's nothing new. It's what I've done throughout my career. I have a genuine concern for the people that live in North Charleston, having grown up here, lived here the majority of my life. I feel that the things that I bring to the table will allow North Charleston, particularly District 5, to be raised to a new level when it comes to setting the bar for excellence. And that's what I provide.
Thank you. And Katisha Breland, the strengths that you have that will make you an asset to the City Council.
I believe that North Charleston, especially District 5, needs leadership that has a strong ethical voice, somebody that's able to listen, understand, and take action. Those are all my strengths. Like I said, I've worked in real estate for many years, helping people accomplish the dream of home ownership. And so in order to be able to do that, I had to be a great listener. I had to be able to implement whatever it is that they needed so far as searching for property and then taking that from transaction to close. So those are all the strengths that I possess. I'm a people's person. I know how to relate to people. District 5 is made up of all sorts of different properties from high end to low income properties. And I'm able to communicate with all of these people, being a part of this community for so many years, living here, working here. I just feel like I have a great understanding of the needs of the people, of what's happening in the area, and know what it takes in order to get things done.
Okay, thank you. And Chris MD, same question. What strengths do you have that will make you an asset to the city council?
Hey, thanks for the question. I appreciate it. So I am very good. It's my job in the Marine Corps was to take ideas and put them into action. For example, I build infrastructure overseas here in the United States and all the support systems for that. And that takes a lot to know what the second and third order effects of that infrastructure and what everything is required to do that. I think the Marine Corps, being in combat, leading teams, working at Parris Island, just being in austere conditions has given me layers of mental and physical resiliency that I've had for such a long time. And it's helped me through some very difficult times in my life. As far as logistics, the things that the city needs as far as this is my bread and butter. So transportation, facilities, risk mitigation, basic services, fixing budgets and broken systems are what I do best and able in order to make sure that, like, let's say those facilities get built, like let's say those plans are completed. So my job was to keep everything in a box and make sure that everything inside of that box was led by a good team. I was delegating, I would say authority down to individuals and basically managing. So basically a glorified wedding planner is what I was, if that, or like a program manager or something of that. But what North Charleston needs is they need somebody who has the courage to stand up. There's definitely deep-rooted corruption in North Charleston. And I think that, we need to put people in office now that have a different lens to look through, something new, something fresh. And I think I have all those capabilities to take what North Charleston has, those capabilities, and distribute them out to North Charleston residents. And I don't think a lot of people know what that is. I don't think a lot of people know what's actually.
Okay. Sure. You're out of time, Mr. MD. But thank you. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. And for this one, we will start with Mindy Parrish. What are your top 3 concerns for District 5?
Top 3, I would say transparency and accountability. Number 2, public safety and crime prevention. And number 3, transportation and infrastructure. Although not all of District 5, Wanda Woods may not have the same crime as Evanston Estates. It's not just Wanda Woods that you're representing, it's the entire district. And I think it's very important that all 3 of those are integrated into the entire district, not just one neighborhood alone. I feel like every person in all the neighborhoods should have a voice in that. So like I said, transparency, accountability, that goes for us as the candidates or as the elected member, public safety and crime prevention, and transportation and infrastructure.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Singletary, same question. What are your top 3 concerns for the district?
The first would be integrity, because the lack of integrity is the very reason why we are here running for this position. So integrity in the position would be number 1. Number 2 would be transparency. In North Charleston presently, there are many of the required documents, implementation plan, transparency spending reports, that have not been freely shared with the public. In order for you to be a citizen abreast of what's going on and to make good decisions and have good dialogue, you need to at least know what is going on by receiving the proper documents. And then accountability. We need someone who is in the position that will be held accountable for the decisions that they make, the votes that they're making, and the motions that they put before council. All three of those things, integrity, transparency, and accountability, are what I feel the most important things in North Charleston for District 5.
Okay, thank you. And for all of you, I hope I'm not cutting out too much. I just tested my internet and it's slow tonight for some reason. So I apologize if I'm cutting out, just ask me to repeat something. Okay, and Katisha Breland, same question. What are your top 3 concerns for District 5?
My top 3 concerns are restoring the trust, safety in our communities, and traffic and congestion, along with infrastructure. These are all things that I have heard residents of District 5 talk about from canvassing the areas. First of all, restoring trust. In order for us to be able to move forward as a community and grow, we have to be able to engage our constituents along with City Council. So I hope to be able to bridge that gap between City Council and our residents of District 5. And so that's the first priority there. The other is safety. We have to do more in order to make our neighbors feel safe. Again, this is a very diverse district, from low-income housing to waterfront properties. Just the other day while canvassing in Dorchester, Wayland, I encountered an active police standoff, and then there were children sitting out on a stoop. No child should ever feel like this is a normal day in their neighborhood. So we definitely have to do more to increase or protect our citizens within our neighborhoods. And the other concern that a lot of citizens have mentioned is the traffic congestion, and then also the streets, the roads, the potholes, all of the changes that have taken place. At one point, we were in a neighborhood that took 10 to 15 minutes to get everywhere. Now, I'm in Evanston Estates. It takes me 10 to 15 minutes to get from Montague to the entrance of my neighborhood. So these are all things that are a top priority for me: restoring trust, safety, and traffic congestion and infrastructure.
Okay,
Thank
thank you very much. And Christopher MD, same question. What are your top 3 concerns for District 5?
The top 3 concerns I have is corruption, it'd be transparency, and then infrastructure issues. The key, I think, to success in any organization is from leadership. It's just setting a good example. It's being something that others would emulate. It's the group that you create around your presence. The Marine Corps has taught me that from day one. You know, being a company commander, being a lieutenant, being out with the men and women that you serve with is extremely important to be the best in your worst situations. Transparency is key, again, not just to leadership, but just to, what Singletary had said. Everybody in North Charleston needs to understand what capability we have. There are things out there that people just don't know. They don't know what North Charleston is capable of doing and what they're supposed to offer. I think it's important that we get a snapshot of everything that's been happening lately. Where is 5? And then crime prevention. I think we need to do more community policing. I love seeing the kids out there. I love seeing fathers and mothers out there helping and seeing the police integrate with them. I would love to do more in those areas. So corruption, transparency, infrastructure, and crime prevention.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Katrina Johnson, what are your top 3 concerns?
Okay, my top 3 concerns are: one, what I keep hearing from residents is District 5 feels that they have been overlooked and that they're not being invested in from the city, that they're kind of a forgotten space. So first of all is to make the citizens actually give them a voice. I'm going to show up at these meetings, actually have town halls, let them come and express what they need and want. And then the transparency back to them to tell them this is what the city is doing and how it benefits everyone. They're feeling neglected. And I think the next city councilman needs to pay attention to what these citizens want. Crime prevention is absolutely a top priority. And it varies by neighborhood, but community policing and actually educating our young, I think my third priority will be really focused on youth and make sure that we've got good education, we've got programs, we've got things for the kids to do so that those crimes of opportunity aren't as, I don't know, that they will ignore those and go elsewhere. I just really think education for the young, giving them things to do, crime prevention and transparency and leadership is what we need.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Have you had an opportunity to observe the North Charleston City Council in session? And if so, what are your impressions? Please be specific if you can. And for this question, we're going to start with Mr. Singletary.
Of course, over the years, I have witnessed and participated in many of the City of North Charleston City Council sessions. Because I'm a team player, my opinion is that there are some areas in which needs improvement, but I would not go in to point out them as faults, but to simply say, here are areas that I think that we can improve on. Let's take a look at what best practices allows us to get to the next level so that we can, after all, serve the people in the district. District 5, 10,000 people, 6,000 registered voters, about 30% of them actually voting. When a person comes, takes their hard-earned money and time to invest in living in a district and to go out and vote, they deserve the very best in terms of city council, old and new, working together to provide solutions. So that being said, the things that I would like to see them do more of is to allow greater time for participation from the public, as well as to be more transparent when it comes to giving out FOIA information that is requested by the public. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So the same question for Katisha Breland. Have you had an opportunity to observe the North Charleston City Council in session? And if so, what are your specific impressions?
I hope you all can hear me well too, because I believe that my internet is unstable as well. Yes, I have had the opportunity to observe them in session multiple times, as well as even attend their budgeting meeting. What I was most impressed by was the citizen awards that were given out. This was something that I was unfamiliar with, and I was very impressed by this, that they are identifying different citizens within the community and honoring them. And so for that reason, I was very impressed, and it's definitely something that I would love to see continue.
Okay, thank you. Christopher MD, have you had an opportunity to observe the City Council in session and your impressions?
Yeah, I've been down there a few times. I really think that Major Reggie Burgess loves North Charleston. When I was there, he was just very active. He was handing out awards, had baseball or football teams, basketball teams up there giving awards out. I mean, that's just great stuff to do as a leader. I was able to go up right before one of the times that I went to see the city council to watch the Prime 5-year plan for North Charleston, where I think it was, I had met one of the other candidates. And I wasn't impressed by the display and that the city council members some were present, but they were very inactive. And we needed some answers. I wanted some answers to know more about, what was actually happening. There was some information in there that seemed a little, it wasn't as transparent as it could have been. And I would have liked to have seen the council members talking, because I would have done if I'm a council member and there's something out there and there's an event, I'm going to be the one speaking. Yeah, I mean, I think overall, not a bad job. I don't know too much about it, but then again, I can't judge everybody. I don't know what lens they're looking through or what they're actually going through. But what I've seen, that's kind of what I have. It's positive, I would say.
Okay, thank you. And Katrina Johnson, same question. Have you had an opportunity to observe the city council, and what are your impressions?
I have. I've been to several of the meetings. And like Katisha said, I was very impressed with the awards and the recognition of citizens. I was there for a couple sessions where there was some good discussion going back. There were a couple issues where we had some citizens for and some citizens against, which I thought was good. Didn't see a lot of interaction between the city councilmen, but they really did kind of listen to what the citizens were saying. The one thing I don't want to criticize them, but like they walk out the door like right when they're getting started. You don't have an opportunity to talk to the individual councilman at the beginning. Now, if they will stay afterwards, you can talk to them for a little bit. But that's one thing. If I'm there, I'm going to be out and talking to the constituents instead of talking to my other city councilmen, probably.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Mindy Parrish, same question. Do you need me to repeat it?
No, ma'am, you're good. I have been in attendance to the city council meetings. They are, I would say, informative. I think that they could be a little bit more descriptive. You know, somebody going in there that has no idea, maybe they're going for their first time. I feel like they would need a little bit of backstory, and instead of just cruising through those meetings for them to last, 30 minutes at best, I think that they could do a better job at presenting the material so that everyone can see it. And maybe it's just the meetings that I have attended that they haven't, put it up on the screen or given you a handout. But I do think that they could be a little bit more transparent with that. I do agree with the other candidates in regards to they do like to give awards and promote, positive within the city. New hires they introduced and turned them around and introduced them to the people that they were serving. And I think that that's great. I think that it's great for the general public to see, what you're serving and who you're speaking for, who your voice is for. It's not just for you. Like I said, I do think that it could be a little bit more transparent as far as the detail in which you're discussing if you're just walking in there on a whim. But overall, I think it's great as far as the involvement. I would like to see a lot more involvement behind the desk, though.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next question. This question's kind of long, as a little bit of a backstory. And we're going to start with after I ask the question, we're going to start with Katisha Breland for this one. So North Charleston City Council elections are conducted every 4 years, with all city council slots and the mayor's position up for election at the same time. Other municipalities in the area conduct alternating city council elections, where half the council positions are on the ballot every 2 years, and then the other half the following 2 years. Would you be in favor of North Charleston switching to this alternating system? Ms. Breland?
Absolutely. I think that would be necessary. I don't understand why all of the terms in at the same time. I think that it would be in the best interest of the council to have alternating terms because of the fact that it allows continuity. So if you're rolling everybody off at the same time, getting everybody new, there's not a whole lot of institutional information that's remaining. Everybody's kind of starting at the same place and trying to figure their way out. And so for that reason, I do believe that alternating terms would be best for city council.
Thank you. And Chris MD, same question. Would you be in favor of alternating city council terms?
Yes, absolutely. It just like, Breland said, it provides continuity. I mean, I think when you disband a large group of people that are, that have this authority, you lose so many relationships. You lose so much information that's not necessarily written down. there's just a great deal of information that's lost, I would say. So yeah, I think that's something I would advocate for any day.
Okay, thank you. And Katrina Johnson, same question, alternating city council terms or not?
You know what, I guess I would like to know the history of why it's not alternating. Because when I've looked at the history of city council, I don't know that there's ever been a time when everyone turned over. It seems like people come and go off of there. So I don't, I mean, I would be supportive of alternating, but I don't know if it's necessary. But I would wonder about term limits, because there have been some city council that have been there term after term after term, which is great for continuity, but at some point you do need new blood. So I'm not opposed to the alternating. It'd be interesting to see how it gets implemented. But I think we also should maybe look at term limits.
Okay, thank you. And Mindy Parrish, same question. Would you be in favor of alternating city council term limits?
I am in favor of alternating. I also agree with Miss Katina Johnson in term limits. I don't think that city council needs to be a full-time politician job. I think that it needs to be a set schedule, and when your time is up, your time is up. Somebody shouldn't have to kick you out the door just because you're not wanted anymore. With that being said, I think that the alternating would be the best route, because those projects that the council is working on together as a team, because again, it is a team to do the whole district. And then to do the whole city, you need all of it. You need all of the working parts. So with that, the alternating gives, the opportunity for if someone steps down or is their term is out, the other people on the board can still remain in steadfast to complete the projects that were on the ballot to begin with.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Singletary, same question. Would you be in favor of alternating city council terms?
I would have no objection to it, but I think that there are more pressing issues that I would devote my time to. One, because in 50 plus years, we've never had a situation where all of the city council people have been replaced. And so while in theory, the alternating sounds good and it has its merits, it has never been a problem in the past. And I don't see where it would be conducive to the city to spend time on something that has never occurred versus some of the other pressing issues in the city, like integrity and accountability, the extremely high rate of crime in the city, and those kinds of things. So again, no objection, but it's not something that I would spend time on because of the other pressing issues.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to the next question. Some of you have alluded to this or talked about it a little bit, but this special election is necessitated by the resignation of 2 former council members due to corruption charges. What ideas do you have to provide the citizens with more transparency and accountability regarding the actions of North Charleston City Council and its members? And, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you who's starting. This will be Chris MD will be starting. You're muted.
Basically, you're asking what would be done to create more transparency based off of what has happened to the previous council members. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Voter, citizen confidence in the city council, in other words, after what's happened.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think right off the bat, I would just simply say this is what I would want to do, what I would want done if I had a city councilman. I would want a snapshot of what happened, what's going on, like where's all of our money at, what projects have failed. The mayor came and finally mentioned something about spending a couple $1 million in Wando Woods for sidewalks and drainage issues, which was great. But that's the first thing I've heard about any projects actually being facilitated and the money being spent for it. I'd like to know how much is actually there. The next thing I'd want to do is, again, like I said before, make sure that everybody knows the capability of Charleston, what services are offered to individuals. You know, some of these services save money. That would be the very first thing that I would do. But the next is just leadership. It's setting a good example. It's when you talk to other council members, talking with, with courage. It's talking about issues and not having side hustles, nepotism, things like that. The good old boy, good old girl network, things like that. Those things through character, I think, can be destroyed. But like I said, transparency, what I would do, snapshot of everything, and then make sure people know what capabilities are. And I would probably delegate that stuff to the neighborhoods themselves through the civics presidents or some other delegated officials that would kind of be your go-to instead of have everybody come to you at once. I think it would be something that would be posted and then kind of delegated to.
All right, thank you very much. Katrina Johnson, same question. What ideas do you have to provide the citizens with more transparency and accountability regarding North Charleston City Council actions and those of its members, given what has happened?
Well, okay, so I think I'm going to start with, definitely lead with integrity. Definitely, no old boys network kind of thing. I mean, actually follow processes and don't do any back deals of any sort. I think because the neighbors want to be involved, the neighborhoods want to be involved. I want to have regular, town hall. I think that's kind of a cliche right now, but some town hall meetings where people can actually come and talk and get information and have discussions. I'd love to have like a district newsletter or a district website. I'm not sure what the best process would be, but to actually keep the neighbors informed. I think a lot of them feel like they don't get heard, so they want to know where is the money going, what's being done. So I think just really trying to stay involved with the neighbors and let them know what is being discussed and let them know where the money's going.
Okay, thank you. Mindy Parrish, same question. Do you have some ideas for providing more transparency and accountability for the council after what's happened?
So right from the get-go, I would recommend a audit. I want to, you only get bits and pieces of what's put in the news. You only get bits and pieces of what's put in the minutes as far as the meetings, because they're only going to discuss so much. I want an in-depth investigative audit done. I want to see where the money's went. I want to see where the money's gone, whose hands have touched it, and I want to see everyone that's been involved in it. I want to see where it's went in comparison to the budgets. And I think everyone deserves to know that. I think it should be public, while I understand the budgets are public, coming up with those budget numbers are done behind closed doors. So I think a forensic audit is needed right from the get-go, as soon as whoever takes that seat, as well as District 3 seat. And I think that the forensic audit needs to be done, and it needs to be done in conjunction with desk audits in City Hall, to make sure that everybody's tax dollars are being accounted for, and where are they going to. So we're going to promote transparency here, and that needs to be on all levels. It needs to be in the budgeting, needs to be in the spending. So my first go-to would be a forensic audit of all spending.
Okay, thank you. Will you give me just a second here? I didn't want to step away and be rude while you were talking. Hang on. All right, I'm very sorry, dog emergency. Okay, so same question for Mr. Singletary. What ideas do you have for you? And you talked about it a little bit already, but for transparency and accountability for the council.
Of course. A forensic audit would be necessary as a new person coming on. Been asking for one for 10 years from the city, and so far they have failed and refused to do it for several reasons. For instance, the implementation plan that used to have costs assigned to projects, no more do they have costs if you go and take a look at the implementation plan. And spending transparency report that tells us every month exactly what our money goes for. Those things have been delayed in many instances over a period of time. And so you never really know what is going on with the finances. In order to correct that problem, the forensic audit needs to take place, and we need to publicize the spending and transparency report, the implementation plan. The reason why we are dealing with the integrity issue is because of backdoor deals made, because as the public, we have no idea now what our money is being spent on, the types of contracts. So our procurement process needs to also be better managed. As a District 5 City Council person coming on, in addition to requesting the forensic audit, those other things, the implementation plan, spending transparency report, they need to be made available to the public so that we can see them.
Okay, thank you very much. And Ms. Breland, same question, ideas for transparency and accountability.
Thank you for that question, because this does align with my platform of restoring trust. So when it comes down to transparency, I believe that we need to make city council proceedings, decisions, and financial information more open and accessible to the public. This would include exploring options for publishing detailed reports and utilizing online platforms for easy access to information. When it comes down to accountability, I would strongly advocate for holding city officials accountable for their actions. And this would involve supporting independent audits and establishing clear ethical guidelines, and also implementing mechanisms for public oversight. Again, it all comes back to community engagement. I mean, as the council represents the people of the city of North Charleston. And so I think that we need to have clear communication, clear understanding, and even some citizen advisory boards so that we can kind of see what's happening and know what's happening, and everybody's held accountable.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. All right, so the next question, and for this one, we'll start with Katrina Johnson. How, in your opinion, is gentrification affecting the minority and or lower income community in North Charleston? And what ideas do you have to address this issue?
Okay, gentrification. Well, first, let me make sure I have the definition of gentrification. What you're thinking of is new construction coming in that changes the neighborhood, like wealthier people coming in and moving lower income out. Is that kind of what you think is gentrification? I guess that's my definition.
Yes.
So
yes.
When I look at District 5 and gentrification, obviously it's an issue in the Wayland. But I have to say that I think one thing in District 5 is it's already very residential. We don't have a whole lot of opportunity to do a lot of new construction. Now, there are houses being renovated. And one thing I've been proud of in Wayland is most of the houses that are being renovated we're not putting up 2- and 3-story $500,000 houses, right? We are taking what's already there and modifying it, modernizing it, but keeping the same kind of character and structure. I'm not as familiar with some of the other neighborhoods, but it obviously has to be a concern because we want everyone to be able to afford a house. So we want to make sure that we don't overdevelop any new construction. But I'm not sure in District 5 if there's a lot of new construction that we've got land to do. So.
Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't get myself unmuted. Okay, Mindy Parrish, same question. Is gentrification affecting the minority and or lower income community in North Charleston? And what ideas do you have to address it if you think it is?
I do think to an extent it's happening everywhere. I don't think it's just a North Charleston issue. I think it's an everywhere issue. I think it's a fair issue. But I also think that with the bringing in of businesses and more job opportunities, it also gives, those opportunities to those people to expand, to, better their lifestyles. While I understand that that's not going to be everyone's, cup of tea, I guess. I do think that there are things that can be done to help the situation. And I obviously think that, gentrification does happen in North Charleston, but I also think it happens everywhere. And to be honest, I would need to look into more of it in detail to give a detailed response on it. So I guess with what information I have right now, living here, yes, I think it's an issue. How big the issue without diving into it, I can't give you an honest answer. So it was something that I would need to look more into.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And Mr. Singletary, same question. Is gentrification affecting the minority and or lower income community in North Charleston? And what can we do to address it?
Yes, it is affecting it in a very negative way. There's a book by the name of How to Kill a City by Markowitz, and it's an excellent book dealing with gentrification. When we look at North Charleston, one of the areas in District 5 that's being gentrified, for instance, is Dorchester Wayland. When I grew up, Dorchester Wayland happened to be an all-white area. It is now predominantly Black because of white flight. The area Evanston is not being gentrified. You've got Union Heights being gentrified, Acabee, Murray Hill, Ferndale, any of the African-American communities in which there happen to be very low per capita income. 28,000 for North Charleston is the per capita income for most African-Americans, 66,000 for those who happen to be Caucasian. And when that happens, you've got an area that, for lack of a better term, is subjected to a hostile takeover. And for that to happen, there's 5 different components that has to be there. There has to be participation from a bank, from a contractor, from an employer, from a nonprofit, and from the city that sits down to the table and construct a plan to hostile take over that neighborhood. The people in those neighborhoods need to be included in the progress. There's many ways to do that. And as a representative for District 5, I have some great ideas that will help with that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry you ran out of time to give us your ideas. But you do have a closing statement. Okay. All right. Who is next? Katisha Breland. Same question. Is gentrification affecting the minority and or lower income community in North Charleston? And what can we do to address it?
Yes, gentrification is affecting the minorities in North Charleston and lower income families. Gentrification has advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantages that we're experiencing in North Charleston is a lot of people are being moved out. People who own rental properties are no longer able to remain in these properties because of rent increases. So in order for us to prevent a lot of what's happening, maybe we should do more of trying to retain the affordable housing in these communities, because some of these affordable housing units are operated by government officials or what government programs. So if we can continue to make sure that these housing and these programs stay with these housing in these units, then we can kind of help with that. When we also have development coming into the neighborhoods or into these areas, maybe we can give incentives to the developers that would help to, allow them to build more affordable units. Maybe we add more density to the units that they're doing if they were to provide affordable housing. So what I'm saying is, yes, we are affected by this because as rent increases, property values increases, the renters are being forced out because they can no longer afford it. So if we could do more, enforce more incentives and provide more incentives for developers or whatever else, we can do more to protect what we have, retain it, and possibly add more affordable and workforce houses to these areas.
Okay, thank you. And Chris MD, same question on gentrification and ideas to address the issue.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. So when I look at District 5, where I live, let's say Dorchester, West Montague area, I'd like to see that place more modernized, but there are people that have been living there, and I live with a lot of folks, low income, Latinos, African Americans. I see elderly people there, right? So these are probably people on fixed incomes on a regular basis. But I do believe it's happening. It's going to happen with the growth plan for North Charleston. How do we protect those individuals that don't want to move out? And I think the incentive program for land developers is a very good way. But when I look at that, when I think about what that looks like, I think of more commercial type, infrastructure coming around Dorchester. I think it's the LRST, basically the transit coming around and making a loop. That's like the long term. But what I fear is that those low income housing areas that are protected by either subsidiaries, tax incentives for land developers will be secluded. And what I hate to see, and what I think would happen, is those would become less desirable places to live. I think they would not become what the purpose of those incentives would be, right? I think maintaining this infrastructure that they currently have, single family residential homes, would be the key. But to bring down the cost of development on those things, you would have to have some type of an incentive for land developers, something that North Charleston could help to fund. But honestly, that's a question that needs a lot deeper review on my part, because it has negative and positive effects on both ends of the spectrum. But to be honest, there would be people that would suffer from gentrification for sure.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so the next question is an infrastructure question. So put on your infrastructure hat, roads, sewage, all that stuff. What ideas do you have for addressing population growth and the resultant effect on infrastructure in North Charleston? Let's start with Mindy Parrish.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What ideas do you have for addressing population growth in North Charleston and the effect of that on infrastructure?
So there's only, if we're discussing District 5 in general, that's Dorchester Road, there is nowhere to expand those roads. So your traffic control there is going to come from outside entities, your interstates, your, I'm going to call them back roads. They're not really back roads anymore, I guess, but it's going to be mainly your interstate and Dorchester Road. Specifically, I was talking to the people off of Mizzou Parkway and in that area, and their concern is the Air Force Base. I do believe that coming from on Dorchester Road, if you're blocking the box, meaning if you're sitting in the middle of an intersection and the light is yellow or red and you're not getting a ticket for it, I really think that there should be an increase in that. Don't block the box. It's there for a reason, let it continue to flow. Also with that, the Air Force Base is there. I think that we can work with the Air Force Base to steady that flow of traffic there where it does back up all the way to Dorchester Road, all the way down to Montague. I think that there is because 9 times out of 10, the Air Force Base has 1 lane open to check IDs and do searches. Maybe during certain times we work with them so they open 2 and 3 lanes to speed that process up just during those busier hours, because let's be clear, there is no room to expand Dorchester Road on either side to make a 3 or 4 lane highway, nor do I think any of the constituents want that. So I think it's just working with the businesses to come up with a plan to better direct traffic as far as it concerns Dorchester Road and specifically.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Mr. Singletary, same question. Do you have ideas for addressing the infrastructure issues in North Charleston?
Absolutely. The first thing that we need to take a look at is when businesses come into the area, there's an economic impact fee that from the environmental study that's done that oftentimes is overlooked. And that has a direct impact on whether or not it's feasible to help in terms of free the cost for transportation. We need to take a look at smart transportation, whether it is lights that are conditional based on the traffic using AI, or whether it's alternating lanes during the heaviest times. Those are some of the things that we can do. We need to do a better job at public transportation. Right now, our public transportation, primarily through Carter, is actually farmed out, subcontracted out to a company called Transdev out of France. And that company out of France, with a depository transfer account, immediately takes the money, it goes to France. And so there's really no incentive to improve the traffic situation here because the profits are realized somewhere else. These are just a few of the things that we can do. We need a citywide comprehensive plan rather than growing haphazardly, to grow in a comprehensive manner where we have someone to come in and we have smart growth. Those are the things that I think primarily we can do to help with the transportation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Breland, same question, ideas for addressing infrastructure problems.
So what we know is in order for us to address the infrastructure problem, we have to widen interstates and expand roads. Well, how do we go about doing this without removing properties, especially in District 5? The smart growth or the sustainable way would be to try to implement bike lanes or pedestrian lanes. But I do believe that as more companies come to our area, we do have to look at another way of working this out. And, you know, like John mentioned with the impact fees, we have to make sure that these companies are contributing to these different funds in order for us to help. And I also believe that as we work together with other municipalities, that we can come up with a better plan for the entire area because we're all experiencing it. So it would be advantageous for us to work together in order to come up with that comprehensive plan.
All right, thank you. And Chris MD, same question on infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge one. So the biggest thing that here is, like, you know, one of the other candidates said, is the land. We just don't have enough land. Looking at, you know, the plan that they have, so the Prime 5 plan is basically it's basically taking away single family homes and consolidating. And what it looks like, and what I read was, what I was told by, you know, the individuals that I spoke to, were that they wanted, basically, the idea is if you are an elderly person, you do not take up a lot of space, that we would take single family homes and start making quadplexes and bigger, you know, bigger buildings like that to reduce the amount of people you can put in one place. As far as like the low country rapid transit, I believe that thing needs to come wrap all the way around to Dorchester. But the question that I asked was, how do we get people into that? I'm not going to get out of my car, jump into a bus to go downtown or to go up towards Somerville to go to work. But it was told to me that it's focused on new people coming in. As far as other infrastructure, when we talk about flooding and things like that, I mean, when we talk infrastructure, the entire district in North Charleston has dilapidated infrastructure and floods on a regular basis. That would be something that I would be more concerned with, because those would be damaging the infrastructure that we're talking about actually creating. I don't know how much time that I have left, but there are a ton of projects that need to be prioritized. The priority of work for those projects need to be identified to the community, and the community needs to vote on it and identify what those are. And that plan, go ahead.
Okay, actually, you are out of time.
Okay.
Can you not see the timekeeper?
No, I can't see the time. I'm timing myself.
Okay.
I'm
Are you? Oh, you.
trying to.
Oh, okay. You might, if you want to switch to gallery view, you should be able to see her easier.
There's
Okay. Katrina Johnson, same question. Ideas for infrastructure issues.
Well, I agree. It is a thorny issue for sure. I guess ideas is I would like to see more public transit, more park and ride, more shared right. And then the other thing is do more economic development along Dorchester Road so people don't have to travel as far. That would help. That would help too. But really, I mean, I know some of the neighborhoods around here, flooding is the biggest infrastructure issue that they're really concerned about. There's certain areas, even though they've put in new sewers or whatever, there's still standing water that then you've got mosquitoes and you've got, whatever. We really want to address some of the flooding issues and some of the infrastructure for that ruined sidewalk. They've put in new sidewalks and then water stands on them and then they're crumbling sidewalks. We want to fix those kinds of infrastructure issues too. And we want more bike lanes. We want more sidewalks, lighting, more street lights. All those things are part of the infrastructure that we really need to focus on. We really want the neighborhoods to be livable and that they're enjoyable. And so a lot of that is infrastructure. Paving the streets, filling the potholes, that's all those kinds of things need to be addressed.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to the next question. We are nearing the end. So this question is about safety and crime. And essentially it is just, several of you mentioned safety of living in North Charleston and crime rates. So what ideas do you have for the city to address that? And we will start with Mr. Singletary.
Crime, high crime is unfortunately at its all-time high in North Charleston. Crime is a function of chronic joblessness over an extended period of time, and it really doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in or what color the neighborhood is. We have to get people who are in low-income areas, such as $28,000 in the average African-American community, back to work and back to work with a livable wage. When we consider the average wage in North Charleston is around $55,000, and North Charleston is primarily African-American. It makes no sense that at the city, African-Americans get 25% of the jobs, but only 15% of the pay, which translates in their community to having to live in lower income areas where previously a lot that could cost $3,000 now may cost you $100,000. A $65,000 home now, if you go and purchase it, maybe $450,000 next to a $65,000 home. So until we address the issue of African Americans in North Charleston, which is where the crime, if you look at the FBI crime statistic database, it's primarily in those African American neighborhoods. So them having the unemployment rate that's 3 times other people in the city, until we address that, we cannot address the high crime.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Breland, same question on safety and crime in the city.
So again, I think this is another area where we have to strengthen the trust between the community and the police officers. So I think in order to help with the crimes in the area, we need to possibly have increase more foot patrols. I believe that we need to organize more community meetings and, supporting neighborhood watch programs, invest in these crime prevention programs, and also do more things for our youth, possibly development initiatives, after school programs. We need more job training. We also need to be able to address some of the mental health services in the areas or whatever. I think that all this would help us work together as a community and with our police department with trying to combat some of what's happening. I also believe that one of the other things quickly I'm feeling really good about is Mayor Reggie Burgess shared that they have more cameras that's coming up around the areas where when there's a gunshot that goes off, we can dispatch and have somebody addressing that even faster. And I've seen this in the Columbia area. So to know that this is coming to Charleston, hopefully it'll help with some of the crime that we have in the area.
Okay, thank you. And Chris MD, same question on safety and crime.
Hey, yeah, this is a great question. So one thing that I did in the military, especially overseas in Iraq, was we did military policing. And one thing that I'll tell you is everybody wants a lot of stuff to help their job and their life to be a little bit easier. But the reality is that there's a budget out there. If you want more stuff, you have to find the money somewhere. You have the best asset that I ever had. My parents were both police officers as well. The best asset is the community. My biggest advocacy would be for neighborhood policing, like neighborhood watch captains and things like that, to get organized and to have a system in place where there can be communications, whether it be through Facebook, whether it be through a text chat and things like that. Another thing, like Mayor Reggie Burgess did say, which candidate Breland said, is they have a voice. It's basically, there's a sound indicator. When gunshots go off, they utilize the cameras, but they also dispatch drones. They have 3 drones strategically placed in North Charleston that can actively go to that site, and they can have better, better reactive. You can have the police there quicker, basically. I think in the end, it's going to be about creativity. It's going to be about getting the officers in the community together, and again, getting people to take ownership of their children as well. I mean, I think that's a big deal. Parents are part of this whole thing. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Katrina Johnson, same question on safety and crime.
Yeah, I appreciate this question. So I really do think we need more community policing. And I do like the block watch kind of things, like actually get the residents involved. But one thing I'm hearing from the residents is that they don't feel the police are responsive. 2 incidents in the last 2 weeks, I've talked to residents who had their cars stolen. And they said they called the police, and the police, both of them, separate conversations, both tell me that they felt that the police blew them off. That the police were like going, oh yeah, that happens. Did you have a gun in the car? If you didn't have a gun, well then, we'll probably find it somewhere. But they really felt that the police were dismissive of the crime. So we need to work on that communication a little bit more, and actually let them have trust in the police. I have neighbors here that say they've made complaints about noise, they've made complaints about dirt bikes and things, and they say the police just don't respond. So we need to kind of work on that communication between the residents and the police, and the police need to be more visible and more responsive.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Mindy Parrish, same question on safety and crime.
Yes, ma'am. So as a mother of young children, I stand on the public safety and crime prevention. The goal is always to ensure that the community is safe, but you also want to foster that trust between residents and enforcement. I think doing this, you could expand community policing programs, but also let's look at the root cause of the crimes here. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be your mental health services. So let's address that as well as increasing the investments in neighborhood watches and crime prevention. If you increase those, you're kind of pushing out the crime, but you're also fixating on the root causes of it. So we can fix those. We can attract more businesses. When the crime rate goes down into North Charleston. I also believe that if we have more police substations, the problem crime areas will go down, and drug dealers and whatnot will flee. I just think it's going to be a mixture of taking the residents and the police and actually becoming a team here. We really need to expand on these programs and these neighborhood watch systems and find the root causes and just get to the bottom of the root.
Okay, thank you. All right, final question, and it is the hardest one. We'll start with Ms. Breland. What is your favorite restaurant or park or public place in your district?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I couldn't hear you.
Your favorite restaurant or park or other public place in your district?
I like to go to El Calos in my district. They just recently renovated Oak Ridge Plaza, which is now Montague Square or Montague Market. And so I love going over to that area now because there are more food options. I don't have to drive all the way to Park Circle if I want to get something great to eat. So I enjoy going over to El Calos.
Okay, thank you. I'm just getting restaurant recommendations here. Okay, Chris MD, same question. Your favorite spot?
I love this question. I love to eat and I love to cook. My favorite place to go to outside of my backyard is Palomar Fish Tacos on Dorchester Road, right near Dorchester and West Montague. They have the best, and I mean, they're $5 fish tacos and they're amazing. You can get them for $3.50 on Tuesdays. I probably go there twice a week.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Katrina Johnson, same question.
You know what? I probably go at least once a week to La Plata in the Oak Ridge Center there. I mean, it's Greek. They do a really unique gyro, and it's owned by someone in Greece, and his sons were here to start it. I think they've now moved on to start another one somewhere, but it is fantastic Greek food. And I was kind of craving Greek food one day, went in there, and yes, that worked.
Mr. MD, did you have a comment? Normally we wait to the end, but I have a feeling that this is not a.
No, this is definitely not a rebuttal. My daughter works there tonight and tomorrow night. So if you see a little blonde hair girl named Lily, say hi and tell her that,
Okay.
yeah, maybe you get something for free. I don't know.
Okay, great.
Great.
Mindy Parrish, same question.
So El Calio's awesome for food. Also, Ruby's Bagels right next door. I'm a big breakfast person, so bagels is my go-to. She has the best bagels probably in North Charleston as a whole. So that would be my go-to there.
Excellent. And Mr. Singletary, your favorite spot?
Favorite for brick and mortar would probably be Crepes, that's over near City Hall, and Family Seafood off of Rivers Avenue. For catering, it would be used to actually be down Dorchester Road, but it's called Chucktown Seafood.
Seafood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, terrific. Okay, so we're moving on now just to the closing statements. And then I have a little spiel I read at the end before we say goodbye. So for closing statements, we're going to go in reverse order of how we did the opening statements. So we're going to start with Katisha Breland. 60, and these are 60-second closing statements.
What I want people to know about Katisha Breland is I'm running for North Charleston City Council District 5 because I'm deeply invested in the future of our community. As a lifelong resident of the Charleston area and a realtor with over 25 years of experience, I've seen firsthand the challenges and opportunities facing our city. I'm concerned about the need for the greater transparency and accountability in local government, the issues surrounding responsible development, and the importance of ensuring that all residents have access to the resources they need to thrive. I'm committed to bringing my experience, integrity, and dedication to the council to make a real difference for the people of District 5. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Singletary, closing, what do we call it? Closing, I was an attorney, so I keep saying closing statement. It's not closing statement. But you have 60 seconds for closing remarks.
My name is John Singletary, running for District 5 City Council. And it is because I think that each person in District 5 deserves to have a representative who has integrity, who is willing to be accountable, who is willing to share via transparency the things that go on at City Hall. We have to be proactive, not reactive when it comes to crime. And so we must take a look at the root causes of crime versus on the back end trying to mask the crime. I'm running for District 5 because I want to serve you. And I'm asking you for your vote. The early voting is from the 12th through the 23rd, and the 27th is the actual voting date. So come out, participate. Love to have your vote. My name is John Singletary. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And what order? Mindy Parrish, your closing.
Yes, so Mindy Parrish, and as I stated before, my platform reflects on focusing on transparency, public safety, economic growth, and environmental sustainability. I believe that my people-oriented approach through my HOA leadership and professional experience proves that I will listen to and represent every voice in North Charleston, because every voice matters, not just the ones in your own neighborhood. I think everybody has the right to be heard, and I promise, elected as your official, that every voice will be heard.
Okay, thank you. And Katrina Johnson?
Yes, I'm Katrina Johnson, and I am running for City Council District 5 because I read about the scandal that went on and I got mad. And just something in my head said, do something. And there was nothing I could do about that, but you know what? I could step forward and try to lead. So I want to, definitely lead with integrity. I want to give a voice to the residents, make them feel part of the process and part of the solutions. I definitely want to focus on livability issues. I want to give more youth education and engagement opportunities. And I definitely want to ask for your vote on May 27th.
Thank you. And Chris MD, your closing.
Here. The corruption is the biggest problem. I've dealt with it in the Marine Corps. It creates subcultures that lead to harm and violence. And the problem that I have is that we don't know how deep rooted it is, but it takes good leadership. It takes somebody who is strong in what they believe in and strong in their capabilities to create a new culture, something that can be dependable, and transparency is key to that. I have been through all types of engagements, whether they're hostile or not. I've dealt with things here in the country. I was a single father for a long time, and key to it is to just be yourself and let people see you fail, be honest, and do the right thing. And it's very simple, but it seems to be very difficult for a lot of people. And when you're in office, being a beacon and a decision maker that focuses on the individual resident, but putting your character through that, to me, is just something that I would probably cherish for the rest of my life. I serve my country and I want to serve this community in the same way.
Thank you. All right. I'd like to thank the viewers and future viewers of the recording for taking the time to hear from our candidates. I would like to very much thank the candidates for your thoughtful responses and your preparation for your campaign and the position that you are seeking. Especially because I know there was another event tonight that you probably wanted to be at too. So I very much appreciate your time. For the voters, we encourage you to study the issues carefully, learn about the positions of each candidate, and vote for the candidate of your choice on May 27th or before. Early voting will be available Monday through Friday from May 12th to May 23rd at the Charleston County Board of Elections office in North Charleston. Many thanks to our city council candidates tonight, as I said, and I'd also like to thank the other Charleston Area League of Women Voters volunteers for making this event happen. And good evening. Thank you again all. All right, you can stop the recording, Jennifer.